Opponent say switches into Cradily, and here comes Primeape. Primeape with a tough decision to make. Is it the Rock Tomb or is it the Grass Knot? Devoncheddar respects the damage, and that is a huge shield deployed. Primeape going to heavily overfarm and unleash the Ice Punch, looking to remove Cradily from the field of play. Ice Punch connects through 2 Protect Shields, back out comes Marowak. Primeape so far ahead in energy, unleashes the next Ice Punch. Ice Punch rocks them down to round a third health, and this Primeape starting to get out of hand. Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got an absolute banger of a battle submission for one of my favourite trainers to shoutcast, the one and only Devoncheddar. I've had the absolute pleasure of shoutcasting this trainer numerous times in the past, and he is always running some insanely attack weighted, hard hitting shadow Pokemon, and today is no different. We have got a double fighting backline where the damage output is nothing short of absolutely ridiculous. Leading the line for us today is going to be Drifblim, hoping to cover the fighter's weaknesses. If I'm being honest, something like a Wigglytuff or Pidgeot looks like a horrendous problem for this team. But with all that being said, let's keep the intro short and sweet. And without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we see a commanded lead. Drifblim stares down Lurantis, the opponent say switch into Shadow Typhlosion. And my gosh, we're immediately put on the defensive. Just 2 Incinerates have done over half Primeape's HP, meaning unless we get DRE, we're only going to reach 1 move. Devoncheddar fires off the correct 2 Karate Chops and the first Rage Fist. Looks to fire off the next Rage Fist. Unfortunately, game doesn't give us that inconsistent game mechanic, and switch advantage has been lost. Devoncheddar sends back up the balloon. It looks like he's going to save the final Protect Shield for Toxicroat. Well, actually, last second he invested that Protect Shield and then committed to the full Hex farm down. Out comes the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death. And we're going for the Icy Wind bait. Icy Wind forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Interestingly here, we're only going for 2 hexes, perhaps not wanting to take the Incinerate damage. Shadow Ball actually isn't quite lethal, but that's neither here nor there, as Toxicroat will be closing the show. This Talonflame is now nothing but free farm for Toxicroat. The opponent finally recognised they're not going to reach another charge move, forced to pivot out into Lurantis. Lurantis instantly greeted with the Dynamic Punch, monstrous damage. Toxicroat gets the Poison Sting farm down, and just like that, we're off to a very quick 1-0 start. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, yikes, the instant pivot into Primeape, and out comes, oh my days, Shadow Pidgeot. Trainer, it's just a Rage Fist. It's just a Rage Fist, I promise. Ice Punch, bang! There it is. The opponent fucked about. They found out. Primeape takes back switch. Leaves reasonably healthy with residual energy. Good to go. Back out comes Sableye. Sableye looks for the Shadow Claw farm down. Primeape says no. Reaches the Rage Fist, which also goes unshielded. And Primeape putting in so much work. This Sableye is still going to be a problem for us. Toxicroat hitting for resisted with the Poison Stings, and of course Drifblim would get melted by the Shadow Claws. Devoncheddar calls the foul play bait, although that foul play, despite being resisted, did over half our health. We fire off the Dynamic Punch, the opponent makes the catch. Onto Marowak, they don't invest the Protect Shield. Trainer, what are you saving these shields for? By no means is Marowak good into Drifblim. However, I think if the opponent doesn't invest a shield on the Marowak, they're going to be saving them shields for next season. The opponent tries to trap us into the CMP tie. We do not win. Devoncheddar recognises the win con is the fast move beatdown, and the opponent reverse 2 shield flex. GG's that opponent. In the next battle, we see Diggersby, aka Thickersby. I call this thing Thickersby because it's got so much bloody HP. The opponent says no thank you, say switch into Fortress. Devoncheddar looking for some chip into action, Gulliyola the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball forces the Protect Shield, and then we see the pivot into Primeape. Most Fortress run double debuff moves with Sand Tomb and Rock Tomb respectively, meaning Primeape, in theory, should wall the moveset, but again, you can see the lack of bulk on display, as even a resisted non-stab Rock Tomb did half our health. Even these bug bites are really starting to add up, but Primeape able to reach the next Rage Fist. Rage Fist forced to Protect Shield as the opponent looks to realign. Primeape looks for the Karate Chop farm down, but we actually get Bug Bite farm down instead. The opponent's gone all in for switch advantage, and my god, are they going to be sad when Toxicroat gets the Dynamic Punch that Diggersby to the face. We send out Toxicroat, the opponent fire off the Sand Tomb. Whilst it is super effective, Toxicroat tanked that really well. The opponent sends back out Diggersby. Diggersby instantly greeted with the Dynamic Punch. Diggersby, you sir might think you're thick, but Toxicroat had a little something to say about that. We pivot into Drifblim, out comes Clodsire, and that's all she wrote. In the next battle, we see Ferrothorn in the lead position. The entire team does reasonably well into this thing. Well, I say reasonably well, to be honest. All 3 Pokemon are going to beat Ferrothorn. We land the Icy Wind. We're going to attempt the Thunder Catch onto Primeape. Oof. That debuff Thunder still did a lot of damage. Out comes Altaria. Altaria going to be greeted with the Ice Punch, which is double super effective. Ice Punch, unfortunately, goes shielded. Not entirely sure why you'd shield that, to be honest, as Drifblim also going to have access to not only super effective, but double super effective Ice type coverage. Altaria's bulk, perhaps a hindrance in this matchup, as it is going to enable Devoncheddar to go for the 1 shield, a full Hex farm down, and leave with residual energy good to go. Back out comes Ferrothorn. Quite surprised to see this thing re-enter the arena, because unless they're willing to shield it, they're going to be straight in and straight out. Down goes Ferrothorn, out comes Gator. Devoncheddar not messing around, looking to YOLO the Shadow Ball. Through the Protect Shield, Shadow Ball almost picks up the 1-hit KO. We're going to be able to Simul KO, and Toxicroat gets a well-deserved rest on the bench. GG's that opponent. These battles are absolutely flying by today, and we've actually got 25 battles in around 30 minutes, which tells you just how crazy this team is. In the next battle, we saw Moltres in the lead position. We instantly pivot into Primeape. Once again, the Ice Punch gets little respect, and Moltres is left deep in the red health range. Devoncheddar looking to get some momentum with his Primeape, goes to the 1 shield, looks for the farm down. The opponent sends out Diggersby. Trainer, this cannot be your best answer to an Energy Lead Primeape. Again, the Ice Punch gets no respect, which we threw on the CMP time. Diggersby is instantly put below the half health range. Whilst the no shield on Diggersby does make sense because it's got an atrocious matchup into Drifblim. If you see a team like this, I'd recommend using them shields at some points. We're seeing so many people just in these early few battles saving shields for next season. We overfarm, fire off the Icy Wind goes unshielded. It looks like the opponent looks to 2 shield whatever their third is. Out comes Jellicent. Moltres is still alive, so Devoncheddar needs to be mindful of the opponent making a devastating catch back onto the low health bird. We fire off the first Shadow Ball, which lands on its intended target, forcing the first protection of the game. We then reach the next Shadow Ball on the charge attack priority. I guess the opponent looked to call the bait. We weren't baiting. We Poison Sting farm down Moltres and take that game. In the next battle, we see Scizor in the lead position. Is that a regular Scizor? It's kind of hard to tell, to be honest, because there is so much smoke from our side. And it is actually a regular Scizor. That is something you don't see all that often. We saw Devoncheddar make a very nice Night Slash catch onto Primeape. Primeape wastes no time, fires off the Rage Fist, forcing the first Protect Shield of the game. Scizor's already at the next Night Slash, and this time Primeape going to make a very brief cameo appearance in this battle. Devoncheddar needs to wait out his clock, as whatever he sends out will still be switch locked. Back out comes Drifblim. Drifblim gonna fire off the Icy Wind. Icy Wind isn't quite lethal, but should enable a farm down afterwards. Drifblim gets the farm down, once again leaving with residual energy good to go. Out comes Moltres. Moltres instantly greeted with the Icy Wind. Icy Wind goes unshielded, and we see the pivot into Toxicroat. Disaster strikes as out comes Gastrodon. Oof, that's rough. I don't even think Toxicroat reaches 2 moves. These Mud Slaps tearing through Toxicroat's HP. Toxicroat gets fully Mud Slap farm down, and it's all down to Drifblim to clean up. I'll be honest, I think our win con at this point is the opponent having a heart attack, maybe a seizure, or perhaps just forgetting how to play the game, as Drifblim is so low. Devoncheddar anticipates the attempted snipe. No snipe attempt is made. Icy Wind doesn't get the job done. Now we're energy dry. The opponent pivots into Moltres. Sucker Punch farm us down, and that one does end in defeat. GG's that opponent. In the next battle, we see a fantastic lead. The opponent say switches into Cradilly, and here comes Primeape. Primeape with a tough decision to make. Devoncheddar going to respect the potential Grass Knot, and that is a huge shield invested. Primeape heavily overfarms and looks to connect with an Ice Punch through 2 Protect Shields. Down goes Cradilly. Back out comes Marowak. They've already seen Ice Punch. Are they willing to shield? Knowing we've got Drifblim in the lead position, they are not. Ice Punch, monstrous damage. The opponent looks for the Mud Slap farm down, unable to get it, and this Primeape's really getting out of hand. Rage Fist forces the protection. The opponent finally Mud Slap farm down, but Primeape has almost deleted 2 Pokemon. Devoncheddar sends out Toxicroat, calling the opponent is going to blind rock slide. Oh my gosh, what a play. Out comes Big Man Blastoise, and getting an energy lead there is very, very nice for us. Toxicroat races to the Dynamic Punch. Dynamic Punch forces the opponent's final Protect Shield, but big man Blastoise is always getting outpaced. Toxicroat going to invest the Protect Shield, blocking up the incoming Hydro Cannon, one Poison Sting, and the next Dynamic Punch. Blastoise might think it's thick, but Toxicroat says, "You, sir, aren't thick enough." The opponent recognises they cannot win the game, and they concede the match. Holy man, these battles are insanely fast today. In the next battle, we see Scizor in the lead position. This one is the Shadow, which you do see more commonly. Again, Devoncheddar attempts the Night Slash catch. This time, catch attempt is unsuccessful. Devoncheddar then doesn't shield the Trailblaze, and Primeape straight in and straight out. Oh man, how do we even get rid of this Scizor? No, they shield the Icy Wind as well. I think we have to shield this. Right. No, I think we need to shield. Steel, double resist poison. Can we even Poison Sting? Farm down. Oh my god, we cannot. And Scizor sweeps the entire team. You really can't win them all, and you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of running a very glassy triple Shadow team. In the next battle, we have found ourselves a problem, and its name is Mandibuzz. We say switch into Primeape, baiting out Clodsire. Again, you can see that Ice Punch is very, very nice coverage in the current Great League meta. I'm always a close combat fan, but I think Ice Punch certainly has play. You can see just how well Devoncheddar is utilising this Ice Punch Primeape in the save switch position. Primeape able to force a Protect Shield in the mid-game matchup. Devoncheddar then, like an absolute savage, calls the bait. I think here I would like to see us commit to the next Ice Punch. We would have got there, but the opponent actually double shield Clodsire. Primeape forcing both shields off Clodsire in the mid-game matchup is absolutely ridiculous. We see the balloon re-enter the arena. Devoncheddar looks like he's going to completely sacrifice it and put all his hopes and dreams on a 2-shield frog to clean up. In Toxicroak, we believe. Toxicroak hits the field of play, baiting back out Mandibuzz. Toxicroak are definitely going to have to shield up the incoming Aerial Ace, as Aerial Ace looks like a decent move when Toxicroak is on the receiving end. The question now becomes, do 2 Dynamic Punches remove this very bulky Vulture from the field of play? The answer to that question is certainly yes, and Toxicroak able to reach the second one, winning the charge attack priority, keeping one shield intact. Down goes Mandibuzz. Clodsire is still alive. It's relatively low, but we're probably not going to be able to Poison Sting farm it down. We're going to need to throw a charge with the opponent. Send out the big fat bunny. Try to make the catch. Back onto Clodsire. Catch attempt unsuccessful. Beautiful over farm. Dynamic Punch removes Clodsire from the field of play. Diggersby is certainly going to go straight Fire Punch in this matchup. Toxicroak's going to need to reach the double up, as one Dynamic Punch won't quite be lethal. We're now at the double. You can see there isn't a charge attack priority. The first Dynamic Punch won't quite be lethal, but the second one is certainly going to get the job done. And that is going to be all she wrote, with Toxicroak pulling off an absolutely insane sweep. Beautiful energy management. GG's, and thanks for playing. Mr. Devoncheddar is absolutely cooking today. In the next battle, what the hell is this? Shadow Kingdra. I have not seen one of these in the Open Great League, probably ever. I've used it a few times in limited cuts, but the Open Great League, unless your name is X-Boston, you aren't running that thing. We save switch into Primeape, baiting out Fortress. Fortress immediately under pressure, as we're already at the second Rage Fist. The second Rage Fist forces a protection. The opponent looks at the Volt Switch farm down, but the super spammy Primeape says no, reaches the next Rage Fist, and forces both Protect Shields here in the mid-game matchup. You can see how Devoncheddar looks to utilise this team today. Primeape forces all the Protect Shields, and Toxicroat cooks the back line. Unfortunately, we tried to snipe, and we're immediately about to get debuffed, which is kind of unfortunate. But as I say that, Toxicroat hits like an absolute truck. This team is wild. Dragon double steal. Not that the team comp's wild, but the Pokemon are. Who runs bloody Kingdra or the Bear Trap in Season 23? What is going on? We're forced to shield at the rock side. Devoncheddar looks to heavily overfarm, fire off the Dynamic Punch, and we really need to try and reset this debuff. Dynamic Punch does remove the Bear Trap from the field of play. We instantly reset that debuff. Shadow and Shadow Crime. Is a Dynamic Punch enough to one-shot? Yes, it is. We're going to Poison Sting farm down Fortress, and once again, Toxicroat cleans house. Holy crap, man. GG's. In the next battle, we see the Fire Snail in the lead position. Devoncheddar says no thank you. We see the instant pivot into Primeape. Primeape going to waste no time, go straight for the Rage Fist, potentially force a Protect Shield with the fear of a close combat. The opponent does put up that Protect Shield, Then send out Skeledirge, and Skeledirge is instantly greeted with the boosted Rage Fist. Rage Fist forced to protect shield. The opponent looks to the Incinerate farm down. I'll be honest, potentially that's DRE, but I'm going to say unable to get it. Oof, and that is a big fat one-hit KO. Devoncheddar has a 2-0 shield advantage and switch advantage, but no real good way of removing this snail from the field of play. We send out Toxicroat. Of course get baited with the Rock Tomb, because who doesn't love to bait a glassy shadow Pokemon? Devoncheddar this time calls the Rock Tomb bait. The opponent tries to snipe with Gastrodon. We bank the Dynamic Punch, pivot into Drifblim, and that is literally game over. Even if they've got Water Pulse, which I highly doubt. Nope, just an Earth Power. The opponent cannot win this battle. All Devoncheddar needs to do is remove this snail from the field of play. We've got the Dynamic Punch locked and loaded on Toxicroat, which of course would easily one-shot the snail, but that charge move is not needed. We reach the next Shadow Ball, and Drifblim this time is going to be the one on cleanup duty. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we lead Shadow Drifblim into Clodsire. Not a particularly bad matchup. A lot don't actually have Stone Edge. We have been Stone Edge previously in the video, but most do run Sludge Bomb and Earthquake. But of course this one has Stone Edge. Why not? Despite us getting Stone Edge to the face, the opponent's going to have a tough time of trying to Poison Sting farm down our Ghost type. Able to land the first Icy Wind, reach the next Icy Wind, which is going to make this farm down even more difficult as they're now 2-stage debuffed. The opponent instead opts to dump energy, which works out for us. We can send out either Pokemon and look to get an energy lead. Devoncheddar opts to send out Primeape. Primeape gets a very nice energy lead. What wants to greet our energy lead Primeape? Out comes Mandibuzz, thankfully running Snarl. If this was an Air/Mandibuzz, I would be in so much trouble. I still can't get my head around just how much damage these non-stab Ice Punches do from Primeape. This little ape, man, hits like a bloody truck. It is absolutely disgusting. We shield up the air relays heavily over farm, fire off the next Ice Punch, force to protect shield. We're actually going for a bait here. If the opponent shielded the first one, potentially they're weak to fight in the back. The Rage Fist does force the opponent's final protect shield. Devoncheddar going to elect to let Primeape go down and put it all on Toxicroat. Toxicroat hits the field of play. Out comes Fortress. Fortress not going to appreciate the Dynamic Punch. We're actually going to shield this move up. The opponent likely go for the Rock Tomb, looking to debuff our attack. But let me bloody tell you that no attack drop is ever saving this Fortress's fate. The first Dynamic Punch does over half their health. Devoncheddar going to farm up two further Dynamic Punches. One, going to remove Fortress from the field of play. When Mandibuzz does return, it's very quickly about to meet the same fate, with Toxicroat punching everything to the face and Devoncheddar emerging victorious. Judging by the huge amount of lag, the opponent not a fan of our Toxicroat closer and evidently rage quit the app like a bloody baby. But GG's regardless. In the next battle, we see a battle of ghost types. Devoncheddar says no thank you, say switches into Primeape. The opponent continued to stay in, so Devoncheddar takes the initiative and looks to unleash the Rage Fist and start ramping up this already very angry ape. Devoncheddar going to invest to protect shield, blocking up the incoming Shadow Punch. Primeape so quick to these Rage Fists. One Karate Chop and the next Rage Fist is reached. Rage Fist force our protect shield back. Primeape should survive this Shadow Punch. The question is, do we survive the next Hex? Oh my days, yes we do. Primeape on fractional HP, reach the next Rage Fist, removing Dusclops from the field of play. Out comes Skeledirge, yet another very weird ABA team composition from the opponent. Ghost in the lead and Ghost in the back. We send out Drifblim. Drifblim going to respect a potential Shadow Ball, but of course the opponent fires off the Torch Song, looking to vamp up their attack. Drifblim overfarms and looks to return the favour, going for a cheeky bait of its own. Icy Wind forces the opponent's final protection. We look to fire off the next one, but unfortunately lose CMP. Down goes the blue, and it's all down to Toxicroat to clean up. Toxicroat enters the arena, going to go straight for the Dynamic Punch, winning the charge attack priority. Even double resisted, this will be lethal. What is that third? Oh man, it's Marowak. That one is going to end in defeat, as we are going to concede the match. Heading into the next battle. Awful lead as Drifblim stares down Morpeko. We save switch into Primeape, and the Primeape save switch goes relatively unanswered as out comes Fortress. I'm going to say relatively unanswered, despite us resisting these bug bites. We've seen an opponent was able to cheese their way through this matchup as Primeape is so bloody glassy. Are we going to see Devoncheddar look to make a play at taking switch? No, we're not. Rock Tomb isn't quite lethal, but the next Bug Bite does knock us out. Devoncheddar can just send back out his balloon, and he is going to be able to outpace to an Icy Wind, and from this range, even resisted, Icy Wind will be knocking out. Although hold that thought, we're going for an undercharge. Devoncheddar looks to snipe with Toxicroat, and unfortunately again, snipe attempt unsuccessful, and we're immediately debuffed. Despite us being at -1, Morpeko very unlikely to return. The opponent opts to send out Diggersby, which of course isn't a great Toxicroat answer, but they do resist our quick move of Poison Sting, as ground does resist poison. Toxicroat's health is rapidly declining in front of our eyes, as these quick attacks may as well be super effective. The opponent fire off the Scorching Sands and they get the attack drop, and it is all starting to go wrong. We fire off the Dynamic Punch, removing Diggersby from the field of play. Back out comes Morpeko. Even at -2, this Dynamic Punch will be forcing the final Protect Shield off our opponent. Out comes Drifblim. Drifblim going to be investing in a Protect Shield, blocking up the incoming Aura Wheel. Are they in Icy Wind range? This thing's glassy, but I don't think Icy Wind's going to be enough to knock out. Drifblim fires off the Icy Wind. Icy Wind gets the opponent into the red health range. The opponent is going to reach the next Aura Wheel, and it's going to be Thundershock versus Poison Sting. Who will prevail? Potentially it's a tie. How much health have we got? Oh, we've got enough to survive one Thundershock. We Poison Sting farm down and take that game. In the next battle, we see an awful lead, but we've got two very good answers for a Bomber Snow. It looks like Devoncheddar was trying to pivot out, but the game like, nah, stay in and take some Powder Snows. We say switch into Primeape, baiting out Jellicent. Jellicent going to be greeted with the Rage Fist. The opponent correctly no-shield the first one, as of course subsequent ones after that will do more, as it does come with a 100% chance to vamp up your attack. The opponent ended up throwing that charge move on alignment, which is going to enable Primeape to fire off 4 Karate Chops and be doubled up on Rage Fists. The opponent recognised if they shielded once, they'd be forced to shield twice. They completely sack Jellicent, send back out a Bomber Snow greeted with a double boosted Rage Fist. Just the Karate Chops have got him down to half health, and the opponent is forced to dump energy. We find ourselves in the 1-to-1 shield. We send out Toxicroat. Toxicroat going to get outpaced to the Weather Ball, and we are going to see the final Protect Shield deployed. The opponent not wishing to concede a farm down, send out Stunfisk. I think we need to catch to win this battle. Does the opponent spam the move instantly? Oh, they do, but unfortunately we don't go for the catch. Mud Bomb. Going to be one-shot in Toxicroat, vanquishing it back to its Pokeball, and I think this one is going to end in defeat. Stunfisk able to outpace our balloon, and they still have a shield intact. This charge just does far too much damage. Devoncheddar going to release the Icy Wind. I think it's neither here nor there. The opponent can shield, they can let it go. The opponent opts to let it go. Powder Snow farm down with Bomber Snow, and they are able to emerge victorious. GG's to that opponent, very well played. In the next battle, we see Shadow Sizzle in the lead position. The last Shadow Sizzle we saw was able to sweep our team, but Devoncheddar this time able to successfully catch a Night Slash onto his safe switch of Primeape. The opponent continued to stay in, so Devoncheddar going to take the initiative, fire off the Rage Fist, which certainly forces a shield, as Sizzle users essentially shield everything. Sizzle able to Bullet Punch farm down. At the cost of 1 Protect Shield, Devoncheddar sends back out Drifblim. The opponent spam the charge move instantly, which should mean we should be able to Hex farm them all the way down. Drifblim looks to the farm down and able to get it. Out comes the Dene. I love it. Just full send the Shadow Ball. Give us that final Protect Shield trainer or take massive damage. The opponent looks to call the bait, get rocked deep into the red health range. We pivot into Toxicroak and out comes Diggersby. Despite us being a fighting type and them being a normal type, we're also a poison type and they're also a ground type. It's more of a neutral matchup as opposed to a commanding one. Devoncheddar unfortunately does get baited with the Fire Punch, but undeterred he's going to overfarm, fire off the Dynamic Punch, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. They've got literally no HP on either Pokemon. Can we Hex farm them down? Before they reach the Fire Punch, the opponent pivots out into the Dene. The Dene greeted with the Icy Wind. Can we double resist it? Hex farm down. The bulky Diggersby. Oh my days, that was far too close for comfort, but we're able to take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death. And now seems like a great time to announce that this thing has just been released in its shadow form. Let me know what you think of Shadow Talonflame down below. I've never been a fan of Talonflame, however now it's released in its shadow form, I guess it's time to put this thing to work. I'm never someone who releases news videos, however, while we're on the subject, we will quickly briefly go over the next Team Rocket takeover. It's going to be held from the 11th to 17th of August. I think the most exciting news of all is Giratina Altered is being released in its Shadow form, which means Giratina Altered is finally going to be eligible for the Great League, which is pretty crazy. Of course, unless you've been under a rock, that thing will be an absolute monster in the Ultra League, as the regular variant all the way since pre-season until the present day has been an absolute menace. The downside of the event is it doesn't look like we're getting too many newly released Shadows. It looks like we're only getting 3 others, which are going to be Starmie, Charjabug / Vikavolt. I guess that has 2 evolutions that are going to have some sort of play. Charjabug usually preferred, but Vikavolt hits like a truck as well, a very attack-weighted Pokemon. And last but not least, Toucannon. I'm not really sure what to make of Toucannon. I've actually shoutcast that thing in the past. It looks very funky. It runs Bullet Seed, Drill Peck, and Flash Cannon or Rock Blast. I'm sure someone can make it work. Whenever we get a Team Rocket takeover, we always get a raid weekend as well. And the featured Pokemon this time is going to be Shadow Kyogre, which I'm personally quite excited for. Remember, Shadow Raids are now remotable, so I'm definitely going to do a few. So if you're on my friends list, send me an invite, and I'd love to try and get myself a Kyogre for the Master League. I guess that's today's mad tangent out of the way. So returning to the commentary, Primeape again able to land the Ice Punch through 2 Protect Shields, rocking Moltres deep into the red health range. The opponent then pivot out into Drapion. Drapion also greeted with the Ice Punch. Ice Punch forced the Protect Shield, and we see a very nice overfarm, firing off the Aqua Tail before we potentially Ice Punch him again. Aqua Tail removes us from the field of play, and here comes Toxicroat. Despite these Aqua Tails being non-stab, Toxicroat doesn't tank charge moves well whatsoever. That Aqua Tail did far too much damage, over half our health. Devoncheddar undeterred, overfarms, fires off the Dynamic Punch, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Devoncheddar, last second, going to invest Protect Shield, blocking up the incoming Aqua Tail. The opponent then makes a savage catch, catching back on the low health Moltres. Oh man, this Drapion is still going to be a huge problem for us. Toxicroat completely energy dry, back out, comes Drapion. Drapion able to outpace to the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail will be moving us from the field of play. Drifblim also going to get outpaced to the Crunch, and Shadow Crime. Our poor old balloon is about to go pop. Shadow Crime Crunch easily picks up the 1-hit KO, and that one does end in heartbreaking defeat. Heading into the next battle, we see Greninja in the lead position. So no thank you from Devoncheddar as they switch into Primeape, baiting out his big brother Annihilate. The opponent shields the first Rage Fist, so if I was Devoncheddar, I'd shield this up as he is, fire off my next Rage Fist and force the opponent all shields down. Unfortunately, Primeape isn't going to be able to flip this matchup, as we're going to die to the counter damage before the next Rage Fist is reached, but we do manage to strip both Protect Shields off the opponent here in the mid-game matchup. Devoncheddar sends back out the hot air balloon. The opponent going to fire off the boosted Rage Fist. Rage Fist rocks us deep into the red health range. The opponent tries to snipe the Greninja. We see the Icy Wind bank and the pivot into Toxicroak. The opponent full sends the Hydro Cannon that bounces off Toxicroak's final Protect Shield. Devoncheddar wastes no time, goes straight for the Dynamic Punch and looks to move Greninja from the field of play. Down goes Greninja, back out comes Annihilate. This Dynamic Punch is double resisted, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it knock out as Toxicroak hits insanely hard. Even double resisted, it does pick up the knockout. The opponent sends out Gligar. Gligar going to be greeted with the Dynamic Punch. We've got the Icy Wind locked and loaded, so all we've got to do is wait for the opponent to throw and win CMP. Even if the opponent's doubled up this game, it should end in victory, as of course we do have the higher attack. Drifblim fires off the Icy Wind, and we're going to be able to take that game. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's shoutcast. Mr. Devoncheddar, I take my hat off to your body. That was a banger. Both Toxicroak and Primeape hit insanely hard and are so much fun in the current meta. They're somewhat high risk, high reward. Don't get me wrong, they're not easy to use, but my gosh, do they output absurd damage. There really isn't too much more to say other than if you're enjoying the content, consider leaving a like if you're new, perhaps even subscribe if you'd like your battles featured on my channel. There is a link to my battle submission form down below. I'd just like to take the opportunity to say a huge thank you to everyone that's become a channel member here on YouTube. Your support is greatly appreciated. And with all that being said, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.